have David. David's the director of Aura Transformation, which is a consulting company, coaching and consulting on relationships, dating, and lifestyle.
I think it's quite risky. So here's how it works. If you've been in a relationship that sucked, then everything sucked, right? As a dude, you couldn't work out. You did deadlifts and you're like, screw this. You couldn't focus at work. Your girl wasn't texting you. You keep looking at your phone. What's going on? What's going on? What's going on? Girls feel the same way. But when it's awesome, right? Nothing can deter you. The boss can fire you. You're like, yes, more time with my love. Right, so like it's a really big high, but it can also be a really low. And if you're going to be in a relationship, and if you're not in a relationship, you're going to miss out on that great high. But you need to know what you're doing, and most people don't. I didn't know what I was doing when I started out over 10 years ago, dealing with this coming out of a divorce, and then that's how I got into this situation where this is my job for over the past 10 years, coaching tens of thousands of people around the world in this area. So one of the things I've noticed over the past 10 years when I've been coaching is when a guy has just been dumped, he can't focus on anything. All he can focus on is Google searching, and that's how he finds us. And he's obsessed about getting her back. And that's how we often pull them in, because that's the point of where they're at their neediest. But then we have to give them the pill, and they're very receptive. Whereas a guy who's very happy in his relationship, he'll never find us. So those are the things I've discovered over the past 10 years. Just so I get an idea of the audience here, how many of you are actually in a relationship? Just so I have an idea of, oh, okay, so about just over half of you. Okay, great. So you remember when you first got into a relationship, or for those who are single, when you were in a relationship, that honeymoon phase can last 6 months or to 3 years. When the oxytocin and dopamine wear off, then you're looking at now actually having to put effort into this, when it's actually easier to recreate that oxytocin dopamine spike elsewhere. And that's what we're seeing a lot. Like, you can delay this period by having babies, by creating other challenges and obstacles that the two of you have to team up to overcome. But at some point, those kids are going to move out of the house. You're going to be staring at your partner again, and it's been 10 years. The same person for 10 years. And most people don't know how to navigate that. They usually just end up with a deadened marriage. So, time to learn some psychology. Yeah, sure. Well, relationship changes, like as in breakups, often it's just as devastating for either gender. But women often are able to find solace among their female friends. Males generally don't have the support group. Especially in Singapore, they have a really hard time talking about feelings to anybody, but especially to their friends. So they come to me almost in Singapore, looking for a best friend. They want just a guy to put all that trash on. And I'm saying you're not even looking for a solution right now, you're just getting it off your chest. And they're not self-aware or have enough self-mastery to realize that yet, but they don't have an outlet for it. So that's what we provide at Aura Transformation. We're focusing on men's development. So that's what I know best. Women in Singapore under the age of 30 have it a lot easier, partly because of technology now. So if you are a female who is single, you can open up this app called Tinder. Okay, and on there you get maybe 100 matches a day if you're active on that, and a dude might get 5, right? And there's a new app called, I think you're going to get to this, right? Coffee Meets Bagel, and what it does, as far as I understand, I've never been on it, is that men get 21 guaranteed matches per day, and then women have to wait until one of the guys says yes to one of those women, right? So some women only get 2 or 3. So don't go on those apps if you're a woman. Well, you can do it, but you're not going to get that much validation. But it's a lot easier for a woman to move on if she's under 30, because there are just so many more men who are willing to take her out for a date. But there is that difficulty you guys were talking about, figuring out what his intentions are. So in the modern world, the people I work with, they usually flip those 2 stages that Violet was talking about, where it's attraction, but then they hook up first. It is very rare nowadays. I know that it exists. I know it's in the heartland, a place like that. I don't really meet people like that. I meet the guys who are confused because they go to Clark Key and they meet girls who are not like that. Right, so they hook up, and now it's reversed. The gender roles are reversed versus the 1950s, where the man had the power. But now the man is like, if he's very conservative, he's like, we hooked up, aren't we going out? Boyfriend, girlfriend now? I want to hold her hand when we're out. And she's like, no, we're not together. We just hooked up. Right, so this is a very different thing that's happening. One other thing I want to add before we have to end is I used to work a lot with women, and I still do corporate talks. It's almost always women over 30. Right? So there are some companies that are all women. So I come in there, and it's room 100 women or something like that. And they gave their lives to their career. And now they're wondering, at 35 years old, how to get back into the dating scene and why men generally don't swipe with, I can't remember if it's left or right or whatever, but they won't accept them. And one of the issues is if you've been in, and this is going to sound very politically incorrect, but this is the truth from my experience and all of the work I've been doing, that the corporate world encourages masculine energy. You almost, you wear a business suit, you have to talk like a man, you got to be assertive, you have to speak up, you have to get shit done, okay? This will encourage, when you get to a relationship, a dude gets scared by that, and he's not turned on by it. Try to recover that feminine energy that many of you had when you were younger, that you just let your hair down and dance and were wild, and that energy, that appeals to the masculine man. So a lot of women who are masculine in their corporate energy, they wonder why they keep getting together with guys that are relatively easy to control. That's because those guys are comfortable in that type of energy. So just to put it out there.
I totally agree with that. And yeah, because I was the masculine woman and I have learned the feminine way. So yes.